In the top stories, Prime Minister Drew hails EC 31 million St. Peter's Main Road completion project. Grenada cautions over a U.S. request to install radar at International Airport, and former ICC prosecutor calls U.S. boat strikes crimes against humanity. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday newscast. Today is Thursday, the 6th of November, and I am Jasmine Thomas. First, on the local scene, Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew welcomed the commissioning of the newly rehabilitated St. Peter's Main Road and F.T. Williams Highway East as a transformative EC $31 million infrastructure project that marks a new era of safety, accessibility, and development for the people of St. Peter's and surrounding communities. The official road opening ceremony, held at the roundabout near the St. Peter's Anglican Church, was attended by members of cabinet, senior government officials, community members, engineers, and contractors, all celebrating what has been hailed as one of the most significant road infrastructure projects in the area's history. The rehabilitation of the St. Peter's Main Road and F.T. Williams Highway East project, executed by Rock and Dirt Limited under the supervision of the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, included full road reconstruction, base stabilization, asphalt, resurfacing, and safety enhancements such as sidewalks, curbs, and improved drainage. The project was completed within the approved EC $31.3 million budget and represents another milestone in the government's commitment to building resilient, modern, and connected communities across the Federation. Reports out of Doha, Qatar speak to the exceptional, excellent, and high-quality representation by the delegation of St. Christopher and Nevis at the United Nations Second World Social Summit for Social Development, which is being held from November 4 to 6. St. Kitts and Nevis's delegation, headed by the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, Youth Empowerment, Housing and Human Settlement, Ecclesiastical and Faith-Based Affairs, Social Development, Gender Affairs, Aging and Disabilities, and competently supported by Ms. Azilla Clark, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs, assumed key leadership and facilitation roles at the UN's Second World Social Summit. Deputy Prime Minister Hanley and Permanent Secretary Clark served as vice presidents of the plenary meetings as well as co-chairs of the high-level Roundtable 2, which focused on assessing progress and addressing gaps and challenges in the implementation of the commitments of Copenhagen, the Declaration on Social Development and its program of action, and giving momentum toward the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Deputy Prime Minister Hanley and Permanent Secretary Clark extended their appreciation to the permanent representative of St. Kitts and Nevis to the United Nations, Her Excellency Dr. Mutrice Williams, and her team for their strategic leadership efforts at the United Nations and for the invaluable support provided by the mission to the delegation to ensure that the highest quality of representation is reflected at this historic summit, especially as St. Kitts and Nevis was able to assume key leadership roles in Doha. The delegation is also expected to engage in meaningful bilateral meetings at the Federation as the Federation seeks to strengthen diplomatic relations with partner countries and redefine strategies for social progress. Divisional Commander for District C, Nevis, Superintendent Alonzo Carty, is urging members of the Nevis community to stand together and take an active role in the fight against crime and violence following two recent gun-related incidents in the Combermere area. In a show of solidarity, officers from the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force District C Nevis joined the Combermere Methodist Church's recent anti-violence march, lending their support to community-led efforts to curb violent crime on the island. Superintendent Carty emphasized the need for open dialogue, cooperation, and faith-based support to combat crime, encouraging residents to speak up and reach out to the police. If there are shootings and homicides taking place in your communities, one would tend to be quiet. But we are saying events like these, calling on the police, saying something to the police, calling on your neighbor, calling on your parliamentary representative, that is what we are looking for. I believe that if we continue in that vein, we will make a significant dent in this issue of crime, he said. He encouraged residents to rely on their faith and one another, stressing that collective effort is essential in addressing crime. Superintendent Carty said the police are prepared to lead the charge, but they need their community's full support to make a lasting difference. Superintendent Carty reaffirmed the RSCNPF's commitment to protecting all citizens and expressed optimism that with community partnership and prayer, Nevis can overcome the challenge of violent crime. On the regional scene, the Grenada government says it will not enter into any agreement that could violate regional, domestic, or international law as discussions continue over a U.S. request to install radar equipment at the Morris Bishop International Airport. Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell, addressing Parliament on Tuesday, said Washington had requested a response within a specific time frame, but his administration could not yet provide one, for the simple reason that, from a technical point of view, we are not in a position to satisfy ourselves as to safety and other technical requirements as to whether or not such equipment fits properly optically at the airport, he explained. Mitchell emphasized that Grenada has no military and that cooperation with the United States must remain within the framework of law enforcement, domestic legislation, and international law. On the international scene, a former chief prosecutor at the International Criminal Court, ICC, has told the BBC that U.S. airstrikes on alleged drug smuggling boats would be treated under international law as crimes against humanity. The comments by Luis Moreno Ocampo come as the Trump administration faces mounting questions over the legality of the attacks in the Caribbean Sea and Eastern Pacific, which have killed at least 66 people in the last 2 months. The administration says it is in a formal armed conflict with South American traffickers who are bringing drugs into the U.S. But Mr. Moreno Ocampo said the military campaign fell into the category of a planned systematic attack against civilians during peacetime. And now for a look at the weather. Across St. Kitts and Nevis is cloudy skies. Winds, a moderate breeze of 13 miles per hour from the east-northeast. Seas are 1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. The weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis: partly cloudy skies initially, with a 40% or moderate chance of a brief passing early morning shower, becoming partly cloudy, sunny in general thereafter. Weather tonight: partly cloudy to cloudy skies, with a 60% or moderate chance of a brief passing overnight shower. Sunset this evening will be at approximately 20 minutes before 6, and the sunrise tomorrow morning is set for around 10 past 6. And that brings us to the end of the Midday Major Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jasmine Thomas. God bless you.